did see it and I thought, wow, that's really good, and I'm a massive advocate. I've got to be. I started my own business of being self-employed, but I also know that it requires a certain amount of resilience, a certain amount of, you're just basically going to be fucked most of the time. And in the nicest possible way. You're going to go through more bad days than good, but there is something that drives that entrepreneur on, which I think is the thing that you really need when you take that kind of responsibility of going it alone.
Did you ever think that you were going to be successful? Did you go, what was your goal kind of going, right, I will succeed at this? Or were you kind of going to go, do you know what, I'm going to give it a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
I was always confident. I mean, I hadn't been an estate agent for 11 years. I was working as an area director, 14 offices. I was the one that Steph Walker kind of talks about in her posts, the one that visits the offices. And to be honest, I was the guy that used to go in, and my job was always to leave the people in the offices feeling more inspired when I left them. Then it became, in the Countrywide group back then, it came about spreadsheets, dashboards and numbers, which you and I both know that turns me off.
Totally,
right?
absolutely.
And trying to kind of work with people in those offices on the things that I didn't believe in really turned me off the job. So I thought I had two options. One was to leave the industry. One was to start myself. And fortunately, I took the latter. And I knew I was going to be successful. And that's not being arrogant. I knew I was a good estate agent because I was teaching it. I was, very much one of those leaders that could say, I have done this or I do this, as opposed to, can you do this?
Yeah.
And initially, it was really just escaping and covering my net salary in year one. So my net profit goal was cover my net salary in year one. And my wife and I had our first baby a year before I left Countrywide, which was always a typical, there's never a right time.
No,
so if you're watching
ever.
this,
never.
I just heard yours is 4, you were 4 years in.
Yeah,
so there's never a right time.
No.
You can always say, I'm going to leave it till whenever, but there really isn't a right time.
No.
But I knew when I kind of got that traction and I started off with some listings, I was getting that bug, I flicked into market share mode.
Okay.
I was like, I want to be number one. So we did. We listed the most houses in the area in month one, and we literally smashed it out the park. And the only thing that I would say, looking back, that I would change today, and you said about going corporate, I think my tendency was to be I had a bit of a corporatization mindset. It's all that I knew really was how to run the business in a slightly more corporate fashion. But I think as you go forward, you realise that actually the experience, and I touch on what you were talking about, sitting in the deck chair with fish and chips, I think that's the core essence of your brand.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that I think, makes you super special and stands out from the competition. And I had those things in my brand, which made us stand out. And as you grow, it's very difficult to maintain those things.
Yeah.
So I knew we'll be successful. I didn't realise I'd have, several offices and coach and train around the country. That was never on my agenda. Yeah. But, I do feel that first step now is not taking anything away. It is an easier step when you've got these umbrellas or these opportunities to have right move available to you, or low rents, no rents. We never started in the high street, and we've never been there in nearly 14 years. So sorry, I've waffled on a little bit. This is about you two.
It's fine, yeah.
You get my point.
I think, but I would say, regardless of whatever industry you're in, self-employed isn't the goal. I don't think that it's fair to say that everybody has to do it and that everybody's capable of doing it or even want to do it. And that's all right. And that's fine. It's not for everybody. And I think that's an okay thing as well, because a lot of people go, self-employed, it's amazing.
On that point,
really hard.
do you think, would it be fair to say, especially going back to that feeling of you being slightly triggered when people were having a pop at you for opening your shop?
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that there are some voices within our industry who, either for the sake of recruitment or a sheer kind of feeling of marking out their territory, do consciously or otherwise increase the divide between traditional agency and self-employed agency by snarking, pointing out the flaws, saying we are the one and only way, we are the chosen way, and we sometimes perhaps lose perspective that it shouldn't actually really be about us. It should be about the customer.
Yeah, exactly.
And this choice of different forms of agency, different approaches, and the fact that we now have a self-employed agency in the high street just increases the choice to the consumer, which surely is only a good thing.
Absolutely. And it's a little bit like as well, like you go to different, generally you go to different offices, estate agents' offices, and there's different levels of skill in each single office. So, where I used to work, there was great negotiators, there was not great ones and that kind of thing. And I think that kind of understanding that now and having those options to be able to go out there and actually create a really good, solid, like a service for somebody is really, really important. And it's important to build in your own brand and stuff. But there is people, yes, of course, that I will look at on LinkedIn or such. I've got a love-hate with LinkedIn. Yeah, absolutely.
But they are, and what I mean by that, just insecure, because there's a fear in them. And actually, fear is a pretty unattractive quality to work for in a leader. So it's like you see anyone sort of slagging anybody off, you've always got to worry about what they're thinking themselves. But so the model really doesn't matter if the experience is there.
I agree massively. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And EXP, to be fair, is probably worth noting on this subject. You have some EXP agents who very aggressively go on the recruitment path. You don't do that, I don't think.
No,
yet you still assembled a team around you, and so
that's the stealth bit.
It's the stealth. It's showing, not telling. It's if I decided to become an EXP agent tomorrow, would I want to be given guidance by Holly? Yeah, because I can see the great job you're doing. I don't need to be told that. It doesn't need to be hammered into me in every LinkedIn post. I can see it. It's better to show than tell, I think.
So I think wrapping up that bit.
Yeah.
Stealth to self. Stealth to self?
Yes, I think so. I think it's a bit of both.
Self-awareness
stealth, self-awareness, and self-promotion.
Sorry, have you got that?
All the S's.
Look at that camera. Can you just repeat that?
Stealth, self-awareness, and self-promotion. I think it could be snappy.
Yeah, I think,
We could make that punch.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Should we get the whiteboard out? Right. Okay, let's get the whiteboard out. Right.